For better or for worse, it's not the sort of thing you can fake. There's no substitute, no alternative, no replacement. But without it, political parties of any and all stripes have learned again and again, perhaps some more recently than others, that without genuine grassroots enthusiasm, authentic excitement among the vast majority of your voters, electorally, you are toast. So you can understand why Democrats are starting to feel like they've got their mojo back today, the wind back in their sails, thanks to a rather unexpected issue. What NBC News calls the, quote, burning hot center of Democratic politics right now, the battle over redistricting. It started in the state of Texas, where today Texas Governor Greg Abbott is once again threatening the Democratic lawmakers who fled that state in order to deny Republicans a quorum as they endeavor to rip up Texas's congressional districts mid-decade. Abbott says once the legislature's special session ends Friday, he plans to immediately begin a new one until he can push through his new, even more Republican-friendly map, a special request from Donald Trump. One of those Democrats outside of Texas state lines right now is Representative James Tallarico. Fox News invited him on their air yesterday to talk gerrymandering, and this is how it went.
You gave the ball game analogy. In my view, what has happened here is you've done something in certain states and you don't like it when it's done in Republican states. And now you're saying you've done the same thing as us. You've done the same thing as us. And we are going to, by the way, if you do it, we're going to ratchet it up even more, in the words of Gavin Newsom.
My party has never gerrymandered in the middle of the decade at the request of the President of the United States, nor would we. The only way this is going to happen in blue states is if Texas executes this power grab. You mentioned Massachusetts. Right. Do you know the party of the governor that signed that map into law? He was a Republican. It was a Republican governor that signed that map into law. So I just want to be clear with our facts, and I don't want to muddy the waters. All of us, whether we're Democrats, independents, or Republicans, we should stand up to politicians who don't want to face accountability at the ballot box. That's exactly what's happening here. And I asked you, if Republican policies are popular, why do they need to redraw these maps? Why can't they just run on their policies?
I'm getting wrapped on time. I'm enjoying this conversation. I want to let it go on.
Well, Kane looks like he needs a lifeline. But it isn't just Texas Democrats who are now vowing to fight fire with fire in what Democrats see as what it is, a Republican power grab. But their party allies, other Democrats, have entered the fray as well. California's Governor Gavin Newsom, for instance, has spent the better part of the week masterfully trolling Donald Trump online. It culminated in an all-caps threat written in very Trumpian style to make sure he understood it, I guess. Quote, Donald Taco Trump, as many call him, quote, missed the deadline, exclamation point. California will now draw new, more beautiful maps. They will be historic, as they will end the Trump presidency. Dems take back the House. Big press conference this week with powerful Dems and Gavin Newsom, your favorite governor, that will be devastating for MAGA. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, whatever happens in California or Texas or Illinois or anywhere else, it's clear Democrats have some momentum back. They're energized, not just by the issues, but by their own voters who are all too eager to see them fight. It's where we start today with some of our favorite reporters and friends. Managing editor of The Bulwark, MSNBC contributor Sam Stein's here. Also joining us, pollster and president of Brilliant Corners Research, MSNBC political analyst Cornell Belcher's here. And we start with Democratic Congressman Robert Garcia of California, ranking member of the Oversight Committee. Congressman, I like the translation feature, and I feel like, among other things, what Gavin Newsom has cracked the code on is that translation into Donald Trump's social media posting language. Quite an epic troll of him. But on the substance of this, where do you see this fight?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, people are energized, and if Texas is going to punch, California is going to punch back harder. And people are right now in a fighting mood. This has united the party. We're ready to push back. And this is the way Donald Trump has made it clear that how he wants to rig the 2026 election. A lot of us have been kind of contemplating how he's going to try to rig the 2028 election. No, it's the 2026 election is how he's going to plan on doing it. And so we support the governor's effort. He is punching back just as he should be. We are all behind this effort. And what we're going to do in California is not just match Texas seat to seat. We're going to ensure that all of our members that are in tougher seats are also in bluer seats. And so we're going to build a firewall in our state. And we're in this fight because Donald Trump wants to be in it. And the only thing that Donald Trump understands is brute force. We've got to take him for his word that he's going to try to do this across the country. And Democrats have got to go state to state and do the same thing.
Let me ask you this. I mean, mostly for better, but I guess in some instances for worse, the Democratic Party is not the Republican Party. The Republican Party doesn't ask why. The Republican Party doesn't say, oh, I've never been for this before. The Republican Party does what Donald Trump wants it to do. The Democratic Party isn't like that. Do you have unity among elected Democrats? And have you seen data that suggests this is what the majority of your voters want?
Welcome to the new Democratic Party. I mean, the reality is that we can no longer play the respectability game. We can no longer always try to be the good guys. We can no longer always try to do the right thing at the right moment and pull test everything that we do. We have tried to do the right thing. We've supported independent commissions. We've always followed the letter of the law, which we should always try to do. We have tried to always be that party that brings people in and that does it in a way that is a respect and commands, I think, a large coalition. We've been losing elections. We lost a presidential election. We don't have control of the Congress. Yeah. And it is time for us to dig in deep and to match whatever the Republicans throw on us and then some. And it doesn't mean we've got to lose our values. Our values are still about inclusion, supporting those that need help the most, bringing folks in, growing the country, supporting working class folks. That is still who we are. But the way we get to those majorities, the way we win elections has to change. And I've not heard one Democrat or voter on the ground ever tell me once, hey, can you please dial it back a little bit? Or, hey, can you, you're being a little bit too aggressive? I am glad now that the party is finally in an aggressive posture, and we are not going to let the foot off the gas.
What is the process like? I mean, because of all the things you just nodded to, the norms and respect for institutions, in some blue states, there are steps that Democrats have to take that someone like Governor Abbott doesn't have to take in Texas. Can you just take me through what happens now in California?
Absolutely. So in California, the process is a little bit more complicated, but we're going to get it done. I mean, we're essentially, the legislature right now is developing these maps. Obviously, with Congress and the governor's in the driver's seat. These maps will go in front of the legislature. The legislature will vote to put the maps in front of voters. That election is going to happen in November, likely. And so the whole process of actually getting on the ballot will happen in the next 2 weeks. Voters will then vote on the new map in November. And then that map will be the map that folks run for in these new seats in 2026. Now, the process in other states like New York or Illinois, they're all a little bit different. But I've been encouraging governors, legislators across the country, if you are in a blue state or if we have some control over the redistricting process, the time to act is now. Do not wait for the...
Since Donald Trump returned to office, his feud with California Governor Gavin Newsom has intensified from social media through the courts. First, it started with Trump launching federal agents, often fully masked and disguised, to lead ICE raids across communities and workplaces in California. Then it escalated when Trump sent the National Guard and Marines into LA to go after protesters. Now, Newsom has stepped directly into Democrats' fight against Trump's gerrymandering gambit. Earlier this week, he warned Trump in a letter to back off the mid-decade redistricting scheme in Texas and other red states. Newsom made it clear, if red states rig the maps, he's ready to redraw California's to strike back. So today, Newsom, like a true internet troll, took directly to social media and started speaking Trump's language. He blasted out the following in Trumpian all caps. When Speaker Little Man Johnson is standing in the unemployment line, he can thank Donald Taco J. Trump. Trump missed a simple deadline, something he has often done with his many failed businesses. Now, California will fire him with new, more beautiful maps. Highly anticipated, historic press conference with your favorite Governor Gavin Christopher Newsom. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Javier Becerra is the former California Attorney General. He also served as the Secretary of Health and Human Services under Biden, and he's now a candidate for California's governor race. He joins me now. It's great to see you. Thank you for being here with me tonight. So Governor Newsom's press office just announced on social media, I'm sure you've just heard, he's going to outline the redistricting plans during a press conference tomorrow. What are you going to be listening and looking for? And do you think the voters in California, who have certainly more of a say in this upcoming process than the voters in Texas have had, do you think they're really prepared to do all of this?
So first, thanks for having me. But secondly, absolutely, I think California will stand up because we have no choice. If someone is trying to diminish your ability to get back all the taxpayer dollars that California sends to the federal treasury. And by the way, no state in the nation sends more money to the federal treasury than does California. And all of a sudden, to have someone try to rig the system and deny California its fair share of power and votes, to let someone try to steal your votes and steal your voice in Congress, you got to fight back. And legally, we can. And politically, we must. And the way the governor and the state legislators in California are going to do this is they're going to fight fire with fire, and will redraw maps in California to essentially make sure that if Texas tries to rig the system, we're ready to fight back.
So what did I say would happen? What did I say? Of course, many of you were saying it as well. I don't want to make it like I had some special knowledge, but I think a lot of us did see that this red state effort was going to backlash, that what they were doing in red states like Texas was going to lead to electoral defeat, either directly, and we've seen this happen in the Trump era, as your right-wing Republican nominees for Senate and governor in red state lose to moderate Democrats, in some cases even fairly progressive Democrats, or indirectly, in this case in particular, what Texas is trying to do, even if it fails, they've awoken Democrats in California and maybe other states saying, we're going to do a bit of our own redistricting. And I want to make this clear. I actually don't like this system. This isn't how it works in Canada, for example. But in the U.S., the states get to pick their boundaries, not just for internal state senates and state legislatures, but for the federal legislature, the federal house. They get to pick their boundaries. And so what ultimately matters in the House, yes, margins do matter, but what ultimately matters in this two-party system is which party has just one more seat than the other, because that gives you majorities on the committees, that gives you the speaker, that gives you the gavel, it gives you the investigative powers of Congress. And so even if not a single red seat is lost, every red state loses if the Democrats take back the House. And the difference was that you've woken up Democrats and they're finally fighting back. And Gavin Newsom, who ideologically I disagree with because he's far too to the right in my book, is good at one thing, and it's triggering and scaring Republicans.